Welcome to Plantish Live. I'm Nina Curtis, and my co-host Sesabek Randall and I go live Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we are here to do it again. This is our 15th episode since October 22nd of last year, and we're thrilled to be here with you. We're thrilled to welcome guests to what we call our green seat or the green table to talk about plant-based foods, the industry, and all the goodness we know that plant-based foods offer. And so thank you for joining us. My co-host is Kung Wu. He is the founder and CEO of SOBO Foods, Asian American comfort food reimagined, plant-based, high in protein, high in fiber, and delicious. Hello, Chef.
Hi, Chef. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. You know, it's Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, so we're ready to go.
Yes, it's Dumplings Tuesday too.
That's
Listen,
right.
we got to coin that too.
That is right. Fam, if you love dumplings and you've joined us, drop a dumpling in the chat so we know that we've got our tribe here, because Eric Wu is disrupting the food industry, one with dumplings, which is such a favorite comfort food for most of us, no matter where you're at in the world. I've talked to people, and Chef, they always say, "Oh, I'm so intimidated. I would never try to make dumplings," right? And so Eric and his team are bringing the goodness, and we are so thrilled. I see them in here. We are inviting them in. And Eric is just going to share with us his story. Why dumplings? Why dumplings? Because he has such a great story. Hello, Eric.
Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. This is going to be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Chef Sesabek and I are so thrilled to have you, because we've been talking a while trying to get you to join us, and you are one busy man.
I appreciate you working with me. It's been a lot of travel for me the last couple months.
I love that. How is the dumpling world doing in general?
The dumpling game is as hot as ever. People are loving the dumplings. Dumplings are certainly having a moment. So it's fun to have a product where the moment you tell people what you're working on, they all say, "Yum, amazing. Where can I try it?"
Yes. And so just give the fam, our community is loving and supportive. You're going to be seeing hearts coming through and
Amazing.
comments. Fam, ask questions of Eric. We have him live. Why and when do you ever get to just, have a up close and comfortable conversation with a founder and CEO of the foods we love or the foods we want to know about? And Eric is here to share with us. So Eric, give us a little bit of a snapshot of how you got to where you are right here today talking with us.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually now going on my ninth year working in CPG, consumer packaged goods. So basically all the food that you find in your local grocery store that you love. And definitely a meandering path, but one that started way back when I was in college. So as an undergrad, I started a business from the basement of my senior year apartment. I went to Georgetown out in DC, and as an athlete, someone who'd always play sports, I really wanted to create something that was more down to earth, more gender neutral, more personalized for people. And that was my first business. It's called Gainful. We make personalized sports nutrition products like pre-workout, hydration, protein powder. And you can find us in Target stores nationwide, as well as vitamin shop stores nationwide and online. That was the best first job I could have ever asked for. And obviously now I'm working on something very different, to go from protein powder to vegan dumplings. Obviously there is some sort of journey there. And the backstory for that is I actually studied food sustainability in college. So as an undergrad at Georgetown, I wrote my senior thesis on the future of food, on water use, on land management, and how industrial animal agriculture, basically factory farming, has a huge impact on people, on our health, on the environment, on land, on water, and basically wrote a paper about impossible foods and beyond meat before it was super cool to be a nerd about that kind of stuff. And obviously I've seen that industry go through its own journey, but I always knew in my heart of hearts that I wanted to start a company that was more directly related to food sustainability. So when Gainful was off to the races and we had a big team out in New York City, I decided that I wanted to take my next adventure into my own hands and start a company that was near and dear to my heart, both in terms of the food sustainability aspect, but also telling some stories that really got to the essence of who I am, my childhood, the way I grew up as an Asian American kid in Southern California, and kind of telling those food stories in a way that was really accessible, but also super authentic to me.
I love that. And you were listed in the Forbes 30 under 30 for the category of food and drink. Congratulations. So, fam, tap in, drop dumplings all day in the chat. Let us know you're here live with us as you come in and show Eric the love we're known for. So you were with Gainful and you were recognized with Forbes. And then in 2022, if I've done my homework right,
That's right.
you decided what you're sharing with us to do something. So what was the moment, though? I think entrepreneurs always have these critical moments when they wake up and you get this download. So what was the moment that you said, Asian American comfort food, dumplings is it? Was it a moment? Was it a dish you were having with your mom? Because I've seen that you got inspiration from your mom's dumplings. So did she
Absolutely.
give you her recipe to take to the world?
She did not give me her recipe. These are uniquely me. I mean, definitely heavily inspired by my childhood. My mom, growing up with a single mom, she still made time every single day to put fresh food on the table for us for dinner. And even if it wasn't the freshest food, sometimes when she came home late from work and was tired and didn't have the energy to whip up a full meal from scratch, it was still food that was painstakingly prepared with love. And she always had a little garden, so it was always as many fresh veggies as we could possibly have in all of our food. And she was doing non-GMO, organic, plant-based, everything before it was even cool. She didn't use any of those buzzwords. It's just how she grew up. She was always about nourishing her son, her friends, her family with the foods that she felt like were the best quality that she could possibly offer. And that ethos definitely bleeds through into everything that we're doing today with SOBO, even if the recipes aren't her recipes. And I think it's important to note that these are not my mom's, my grandma's recipes, because there are a lot of really cool companies out there doing heritage foods, making Asian American foods, Caribbean American foods, Latino foods from all across diasporas, all across the world that are very, very much rooted in traditions of authenticity and traditions of, hey, this is my grandma's recipe, or this is this famous Michelin-starred chef's recipe. And for me, that's all great. I'm super happy those brands exist. These are my recipes, right? These are things that are authentic to me, and I feel like really can only be spoken through the voice of a kid who grew up here, Asian American, Chinese American, SoCal kid. And I think you can see that bleed through if you look at all the packaging and you read the little anecdotes on the back. These are not your grandma's dumplings. They're authentic to me. And I think for all entrepreneurs, if I had to give some unsolicited advice, it's do you, right? You can definitely take inspiration from other places, but ultimately what consumers care about, what people buying your product on shelves care about nowadays is seeing that there's a real human being telling their real authentic story behind the packaging.
I love that. I love the thread of connection because I'm from Southern
Okay.
California. My
Yeah.
mom always had a garden. She did all the things you shared that your mom did and
Mm-hmm.
didn't use those buzzwords because organic and all wasn't in like that.
Mm-hmm.
Chef Sesabek is on the East Coast, South Carolina. He's vegan since birth, Eric,
Vegan since
and I'm
birth.
trying to get my black card. I got 25 years in, but they stop me at the door every time I step up. And they're like, maybe in your next life, honey.
That's hilarious.
So, dumplings are like this comfort food. I feel like while they're in this little pocket and, you're like, yeah, I can eat like a dozen of them. And I don't feel guilty because they're just this little purse pocket. They're that pocket food
Yeah.
that we all love so much. What have you learned through, being out there like you? I love the fact that you're on the front lines. You're not sitting behind a desk, your computer. You are on the front lines, really getting in, what some would back in the day call bootstrapping or, just really being out with the people that are eating it. And you guys, I've had
Mm-hmm.
the pleasure because I did an
Yeah.
event and Eric and his team at SOBO sent me dumplings. It was for a lunar holiday and, well, the New Year's actually. And there are 4 flavors and we'll get into that. But I just think that it's so nice to know that you have a product that's high protein, high fiber, clean ingredients, sustainable. We know about your background, Bradford Assistance and Co. You love dumplings, yes. And she said, congratulations earlier on your Forbes
Thank you,
listing.
thank you.
What is it that people love so much about dumplings?
I mean, dumplings are certainly having a moment right now. I think they're the ultimate convenient, cute comfort food, right? It's something really easy to wrap your head around because every single culture has got their own form of a dumpling. Every single
Yes.
culture has got their own form of a delicious, comforting food, filling, wrapped in a delicious, juicy, savory dough, right? Every culture has got that. And I think now, especially, you're seeing that Asian food is gaining prominence more than ever in US culture. Over the last 20 to 30 years, Asian food has been the fastest growing quote unquote ethnic cuisine in the United States. And we're only seeing that momentum pick up with the soft power of K-pop and things like that, right? Everyone's really looking forward to trying their new fun Asian foods at their local grocery store. And it doesn't even have to be their local Asian grocery store anymore. You're seeing a lot of really cool Asian flavors and Asian inspired ingredients and recipes transfer over to the typical American grocery store, which really heartens me because it makes me feel like I'm on the right track by showing people not just Asian foods that matter deeply to me, but Asian foods that are now all of a sudden on the tip of everyone's tongue. When 10, 15 years ago, me growing up, nobody would have known what they were.
It's one thing to get in the CPG, consumer packaged goods industry, and then you take on the next, frozen foods,
Yeah, that's a
frozen
beast.
foods. So you're bringing SOBO dumplings, cute, sexy, I mean, have it your way, to a category that typically people would think of There's a lot of thoughts about frozen foods out there.
For sure,
It
for
can
sure.
be your grandmother's, whatever the
Stouffer's,
brand
microwave
of the day.
meals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So how are you disrupting that, and how are you breaking through to bring today, now, into the now that, what we thought or what may still be on the frozen foods shelf is not what you're delivering?
Yeah, yeah. Well, first off, you have to be a total masochist to get into frozen food. If I can tell anyone right now whether or not they should go into a frozen food business if they're considering building their own food business, I would say run away, run for the hills. Frozen food is certainly super difficult. Frozen supply chain is super difficult to work with, especially when you have a product that if you leave it out for 30 minutes, all of a sudden it starts melting, right? That's always difficult. Um, for us, frozen food is definitely a place where we felt like was a ripe jumping off point for comfort food in general, right? There are a lot of legacy frozen food brands and they get stuck with some pretty big stigma, right? So I mentioned Stouffer's, microwave meals. I think for a generation right above mine, anything you thought about when you thought about frozen food was junky. It was trashy. It was thrown in the microwave, tastes like cardboard, zero flavor, super high in bad ingredients. And for me, that's just not how I felt like frozen food should be. Frozen food has so much opportunity because you can pick veggies at the peak of ripeness. You can keep food for longer and minimize food waste at a distributor, a retailer, and a consumer level. Like it's an amazing place to start. And we have the technology available to us.
Hold on, fam. Eric will be right back with us. You know how technology does, and we are one day. Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Okay,
good. We
great,
got you.
awesome, awesome. Yeah, and everyone's got this beautiful invention in their home called a freezer, and they can keep food in there for a very long time. I think for us at Sobo, something that we're doing is we're trying to counteract two stereotypes, two stigmas at once, right? The first is about frozen food being unhealthy, about being not fresh, about being cheap and trashy, and about being just like your last resort food in your house. We're trying to counteract that with what we're doing. At the same time, we're trying to counteract this idea that Asian food, and in particular Asian American food, and even more particularly Chinese American food, has to be cheap. It has to be full of sodium. It has to be chock full of sugar. It has to be made exclusively with factory farm meats. Like we're trying to run over all those stereotypes and all those perceptions of Asian food in America because it's absolutely changed, right? There are amazing people doing work all across the states, both in CPG and in restaurants, to show that Asian American food can be just as comforting, can be just as good as what you remember, but it can be high quality, it can be premium, it can live on the shelves of the Whole Foods, and it can be lower in sodium, lower in sugar, higher in protein, chock full of fresh veggies, and made without all the factory farm meats that have been unfortunately associated with Asian American food to date.
Yeah. And I want to clarify because we had a question in the chats. Is SOBO Foods plant-based? Yes, it's vegan, fam. It's high protein, it's high fiber, made from plants, only plants. Even if you see, it says you can see the chicken, or this is the pork, excuse me, it's written backwards just to catch your attention because so often today, a lot of the plant-based foods that say pork, chicken, beef, goat, even as a vegan, I second guess myself
Yeah.
sometimes. And, I turn the package over immediately to look at the ingredients to make sure, that someone else isn't jumping on the plant-based bandwagon and perpetrating on
Yeah.
our space. I don't go for that. I'm going to switch it up just a little because, fam, I want you to know how much Eric is dedicated to SOBO Foods. Eric, can you tell us about that tattoo? That tattoo. I mean, you have to be pretty dedicated to put a tattoo. Go ahead, Eric. I'm gonna stop. I'm not telling
I
your
see Chef's
story.
eyes blinking in the corner of my screen. You can barely believe it. Yeah, I have a dumpling tattoo. I'll spare you all the grand reveal here because it's on my thigh and I'm wearing long pants today. Um, yeah, so I did a pitch competition at this big natural food distributor. They had a trade show in San Diego, UNFI. They supply all the natural grocery stores that you love. And I got up on stage and they said, "This is not your typical pitch competition. We want you to make a splash, go crazy. This is really, you're here to entertain the crowd." And so my original idea was, hey, I wonder if they'll let me get a dumpling tattooed on my leg on stage as I do the pitch. And I asked the organizer for the events, this is a room of 1,000 people, right? And he was like, "Absolutely not. You are crazy, you crazy dumpling guy. Like, you cannot bring needles and blood on stage at the pitch competition." I was like, okay, fair play, fair enough. I can understand why that would be a liability. Um, so what I did was I actually had my colleague draw in Sharpie on my leg a tattoo, and I revealed that on stage. Everyone cheered. I won the pitch competition. People were asking me at this trade show in public, "Take your pants off, show us your tattoo." And so I felt like I was living a bit of a lie. So when I got back home to San Francisco, I said, okay, I'm going to pony up and I'm actually going to go ahead and get this dumpling tattoo. So I got a cute little dumpling tattooed on my thigh. The one during the pitch competition, granted, was the fake one was much larger so that people in the back of this giant convention center hall could see it. The one that I got is much cuter, much smaller, but yeah, I mean, what can I say? I think there are people out there who don't have dumpling companies getting dumpling tattoos these days, so it's the least I could do.
I just say that's dedication. And then even after the story of you sharing with us, the idea, the creativity, you didn't say it was, everybody wears, or a lot of people wear tattoos that aren't
Yeah.
real just for the moment or all. And you just took it there. So I love that creativity. I love what entrepreneurs have to do because it's like your child, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you have to really go out and get attention. Chef, do we have any comments I've missed in the chat that you see?
Yes. Let's see here. From Perfect Tiny, your skin. Yes, only plants. Thank you. I think we're caught up. But yeah,
Okay.
Nice.
getting a lot of love and hearts.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We are speaking with Eric Wu, the founder and CEO of SOBO Foods. Let's make it clear these are plant-based dumplings, Asian American comfort food reimagined. And this is just the start, I know, for Eric, because this is the first line. But Eric, share with us, because all of us have I think, an entrepreneurial spirit, or even if we work for a company, we have an entrepreneurial spirit. We all have ideas, and I think we all have gifts that maybe we haven't felt comfortable to expand on. What have been the highest moments and some of, if we were doing a SWOT, we're not going to do the whole SWOT on your company right here, but if we were doing a SWOT kind of thing, what would you say your strengths and successes have been? And then some of the surprises that didn't think you were going to come up on, even though you had already been with Gameful. This is
Hmm.
not new game for you,
Hmm.
but now you switch from a nutritional protein drink that everybody drinks or is looking for, and then you go to dumplings that everybody loves. But what have been some of those high and challenging moments?
I'll start with the highs. They're pretty easy to name. It's really, really fun to run a food company. It's really fun to have a product where the moment you tell people about it, they're on board. They're stoked. They can't wait to try it. It's also really gratifying. I told you I got into this because I really wanted to work on something more directly related to food sustainability. But what has ultimately actually become, I think, just as, if not more gratifying and soul warming to me is seeing how much our community has responded to this. And that's not just, Asian American second gen kids,
Yeah.
that's everyone all across the country. And it's been really fun to just feel this organic outpouring of support for a brand, for a movement, and for not just a product, but for kind of like my love letter to my childhood, right? And that makes it super personal. And for me, right, like startups come and go. This one I would love to run until my last breath. I would love to be doing this one forever because it really does feel like the most organic outgrowth of my personality. Like the brand is me and I am the brand. And for that reason, it's been really special to be working on this and telling stories from my childhood and talking about the way that I grew up. And if that somehow resonates with lots of people in grocery stores, then that's a dream come true. So that's been something that I feel like has been one, not only a strong suit for SOBO, but two, something that's been personally super, super heartening and gratifying for me. In terms of, what was the second one, challenges that you want to know about?
Challenges, yeah.
Frozen food. Frozen food is certainly a challenge, yeah. I mean, getting our name out there in a category that's very cluttered, is always tricky. CPG is not for the faint of heart at all, right? Like if you want to go make bag loads of money, go start a tech company. I live here in San Francisco, and you can't throw a rock and not hit a founder of a startup, but very rarely is a food startup. Very
Mhm.
typically, it's some newfangled tech AI startup these days, and those folks, they have it easier when it comes to fundraising. They have it easier when it comes to being able to expand quickly. Like for us, if we want to get a new customer, they have to go to a store and buy a bag of dumplings. And that part takes elbow grease. That's why we are so very out in the community, doing events, doing demos, visiting stores, hitting up restaurants, and talking to folks like you. That's, I think, what really makes it um, makes the journey accessible for people, is seeing that, hey, there are real people behind this brand actually out there pounding pavement.
But the passion and success definitely I can hear outweigh any of the challenges. And it
Definitely.
just sounds like you have, what I think everyone should realize. It's consistency, tenacity, passion, yes, but without the tenacity and the consistency to get up on those days when you just don't feel like it, or you get to a show and you know, products don't show.
Yeah.
You've got to make
Yep.
something happen. I've seen that. I've worked for companies. I know all of those things that can happen. But like you said, community matters and people see when you're, really putting an effort, they're going to help you. So how was the Natural Products Expo West show for you this year?
It was really fun. We actually didn't exhibit this year. We exhibited last
Oh,
year,
okay.
but I did walk the show this year, so that was super fun.
Okay.
Last year we exhibited. I just want to give a shout out to it's a group, it's a networking group called Included, in
Okay.
parentheses Included, and it's an amazing platform and it's an amazing community of folks, and they really put on a pedestal CPG founders of color,
Oh,
right? So what they do is they actually provide a grant to, I think it was about a dozen companies last year for Expo
cool.
West, and they literally have like a section that's specifically for these amazing founders, and it gets a lot of love, which is really cool to see in an age where, I don't want
Yes.
to get into politics, but in an age
Yes.
where our
We
administration
know.
is dismantling DEI initiatives all over the place, it was really cool to see there being a dedicated section and see buyers from major retailers actually make a point to go and visit, not just because they wanted to put diverse founders into their stores, not only because they wanted to put products inspired by the stories of diverse founders in the stores, but because they knew that it made money, right? That was the cool part for me to see, that it was good for the bottom line, both for business and for the planet. But in any case, I digress. This year's Expo West was fantastic. Saw a lot of cool innovation. It was really good always to, it's really good always to get into a room and feel like it's a reunion of friends. And that's really what this business has become for me, because we have so many founder friends all across the entire ecosystem of CPG, but also specifically, we have a lot of really amazing founders who are creating products and brands with heritage flavors, right? And flavors inspired by maybe their immigrant story or their parents' immigrant story. And those coming to the forefront has been really special for me, because I really feel like my community of founders um, has been here in the Bay Area and in New York City and in elsewhere, founders of color who really come together and share tips and uplift each other more than they do compete with each other.
I love that. I mean, we know nothing can take us down. We know who brings the culture, the flavor, the spice, the pop, the energy,
Absolutely.
and that will always be. And that's why so many people in the world love it. And that's something, I don't lose sleep over, but I feel the same way about Expo West. I was there last year speaking, and, I think it's so, I was sharing with Chef Sesevich, it's so high energy and so
Yeah.
stimulating that
Yeah.
you almost need a couple of days. I speak for myself to
Yeah.
recoup from it, because it's like you said, a huge reunion, and everybody, they see you across the room and you hear your name, and you're trying to turn in this sea of 405 stop traffic in the
Yeah.
aisle. And at the end of the day, you just get back to your hotel, or, some people live in Anaheim or going to Disneyland, but it's just a wild, fun experience. And I started when it was a very small corner of
Mm.
the, there in Anaheim, and you could walk it in less than an hour. But to
Wow.
your point, we knew everybody and we were still talking. So you're hanging out.
Yeah.
And then I missed it a few years and came back, and I was like, what happened? And then it just exponentially continues to grow. And that's the power of organic, natural, and just the way plant-based has taken
Mm.
almost a
Mm.
whole floor of its own and
Mm.
then dispersed throughout. So I love that. What are some of your high level goals, three of your top high level goals over the next year? I don't even say 5 years anymore. We just have to stay in this year and try to make
Yeah.
it. So what would you say the three of your top high level goals are to achieve, so that the family knows how we can
Yeah.
support you?
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Certainly, year by year, brick by brick is the way to build a food business. You have to have a dream. You have to have it, but obviously, in order to get to your dream, you got to be able to get to next year too. So, for us, three high level goals. So, one, expanding retail distribution. That's the stuff that you all can see on our Instagram. You can see on my LinkedIn. You can hear it when I talk to you about big updates for the company. That's the sexy stuff. That's the front facing stuff, right? So we just launched in Nugget supermarkets all across Sacramento, Davis, Vacaville here in Northern California. That's been really fun for me. Nugget has beautiful, beautiful grocery stores. Every single one of those grocery stores is like an architectural masterpiece. I don't know how they do it, but hats off to them. We are also launching as of this week in Bristol Farms all across Southern California, another super amazing, very beautiful, gorgeous premium retailer that I grew up actually not shopping at because my mom was too cheap, but definitely going into and looking at all the beautiful foods and getting the free cheese samples, right? That was me as a kid. So Bristol Farms, Nugget, those are some of our big retailers that we've launched in California. We have more big news on the way this summer. We have a major retailer in the Pacific Northwest. That's a little spoiler for everybody who's watching, and another major retailer out in Texas that's taking us on. So we can't reveal exactly who they are, but we are super, super excited for those launches. And hopefully we'll also be back out east where a lot of my friends live on the East Coast someday very soon as well. Fingers crossed. No concrete plans yet, but it's definitely on the warpath for me. So retail distribution, expanding the number of grocery stores that people can find us in so that they can go and get SOBO in their favorite local grocery store is super important to us this year. Number two, expanding in food service is also
Mm.
super important to us this year. So we're really looking forward to bringing our dumplings into more restaurants, more cafeterias, whether that's corporate cafeterias or school cafeterias, K through 12, colleges and universities, hospitals, caterers, anybody that wants to serve a delicious vegan option that's super malleable, right? Like you can fit
Yep.
it in as an
Yep.
appetizer, as a side onto your main entree. It can be your main entree. We want to hear from you. Hit us up, and we can get you some free samples of SOBO to try out with your menu, with your concept, with your catering, however it may be. So we're really looking forward to that. We got some big launches planned for the fall. as well that we'll certainly be promoting from our social media channels. And then the last one is just making the product better and better. We're working on new flavors. We're working on making the existing flavors really pop. And it's always, a moving target, right? Like people think that you can invent a beautiful product and then put it on a shelf and then everyone loves it forever and ever. That never happens. It takes 100 tries, and we're always iterating. The ingredients on the back of the bag may change a little bit. The flavor profiles may change a little bit, but just know that we're doing a lot of research. And the most important thing is we're feeding dumplings to the masses, talking to people, hearing from our customers, and really taking their feedback into account. So DM us, drop me a line on email or over Instagram, however you want to do it. Let us know how you think we should improve. It's super important for us to get that unfiltered, constructive criticism from our fans in order to make the product better, because we really do, at this small scale, take your input directly into consideration.
Listen, fam, you know a man that puts a tattoo of his company on his leg is about listening to you. So he listens, he doesn't judge, and probably makes, changes. I love that you're in Nuggets. I have that here in
Yeah.
Sacramento. It is, as you said, that, when I came from LA, Bristol Farms, Erewhon, I'm thinking of the other kind of gourmet store we had. It was like everybody's like, "Oh, you have to go to Nuggets," because I was like, "Where's your gourmet food?"
Yeah.
And as you said about always improving, Chef Sesebek and I can attest to this. In Clover Valley Culinary, we see you in the house. You're never late. You're just right on time. That's how we roll in 2025. We're always, tinkering and improving our recipes. The minute someone tells me, "Oh, that's so good," I'm like, "Thank you. I'm back in the kitchen for me, working to improve it." Now, Chef
Mm-hmm.
Sesebek, I know you're on the East Coast and you're listening to this, and I know a little bit about you. You're probably like, "I want to know where the East Coast is." But why don't you share with Eric where they should be thinking about
Yeah.
going in where you are?
Oh, yeah, for sure. There are a few very niche health food stores here that I would highly recommend. 14 Karat is one of them.
14 karat.
I mean,
Okay.
of course,
Okay.
Earth Fare.
Mm-hmm.
That's another popular one that I could easily see your product in. And yeah, Whole Foods would be nice.
Yep. Working on it. Working on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eric, are you working with a distributor or are you working with a food group? Because there's differences.
We're working with a couple different
Okay.
distributors. We started small. We started with a local family-owned distributor here in the Bay Area called Good Stuff. Shout out Good
It's,
Stuff. They've been amazing. They've really helped build our business here in the Bay Area and took a chance on us when no one else would. Um, when it was just me driving around in my hand-me-down Volvo with a bunch of frozen dumplings melting in the back, right? Like they took a chance on me. Um, and so that, yeah, they now deliver to probably almost 100 stores here in the Bay Area for us. We're also working with Kehi, and they deliver to a bunch of amazing stores for us down in SoCal,
okay.
as well as we recently began working with UNFI, United Natural Foods. They deliver to stores in NorCal and SoCal for us, and we'll be delivering to more stores for us in the future outside of California, which we're super excited for. Oh, and Hawaii. You can find us at 6 stores in Hawaii.
Hey, why not a trip to Hawaii
Wow.
for SOBO Foods?
Yeah.
I love that. Chef, I know you have some questions for Eric. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts so far with what you've heard?
Oh my goodness, so much great conversation. I love what you're doing. I love the passion behind what you're doing. You can feel it, how you speak. And yeah, I look forward to getting my hands on the dumplings because that's actually one of my favorite foods. So
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But I have some questions for you. We call this the quick fire. You can
Okay.
answer them in about 30 seconds or less. It's just so
Perfect.
that our audience and the fam can get to know you a little bit more because you're a real
Yep.
person, right?
Yep.
Uh,
That's right.
so
Yeah. Buy
the
food from
first,
real people. That's important.
absolutely, yes. So the first question I have for you is, what's your favorite sobo flavor?
I love our Japanese curry and potato dumpling
Ooh.
because Japanese curry was the comfort food that my mom would put on the table when she didn't have time to whip up a full meal from scratch as a kid. So that one really tugs on the heartstrings.
Mm, okay, I'm looking forward to trying that. Next question. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't stop. Don't worry about the competition. Do something that you care about. As long as you can wake up every single day and say, this is exactly what I want to be doing, I love this, then you're on the right track. It doesn't matter about the metrics. It doesn't matter about what other people are telling you. It doesn't matter about whether or not investors or business partners are telling you that you're the one. As long as you still enjoy what you're doing, get up and keep doing it.
Mm. Those are very, very wise words. Love it. Next question. If you could share a dumpling with any chef, living or past, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. Well, so this might be an answer that a lot of your guests would give, or maybe not. I'm not sure. But one of the folks that originally got me to fall in love with food, and not only food, but the stories and the people behind food, was Anthony Bourdain, the late Anthony Bourdain. Um, I remember as soon as I, you know, had access to YouTube, I was watching all of his little clips on YouTube, and then watching him on TV, Parts Unknown. And yeah, I think he really, really fostered a love for me in food. But more than that, the people behind food. And so if I can be half the storyteller that he was, I've done well.
Oh my goodness, I love that so much. Okay, so one last question. What's one song that gets you hyped in the kitchen or your business? What's your playlist looking like?
So
Give
I
us
want
an
to,
insight.
yeah, my play, I can't think of a single song right now,
Mhm.
but my playlist when I'm cooking is always R&B primarily. And
Really?
there's a really cool playlist that I found on YouTube, and I'm going to give a shout out to this person I've never met, and I have no business in promoting, but there's this really cool playlist that a coworker shared with me from a guy on YouTube, and he makes these mixes called Sunday Cleaning. And
Mm.
it's like I think that title kind of encapsulates the vibe a little bit, right? It's like you're around the house, you're getting things done, but you're having fun doing it.
Absolutely. Wow. Any like favorite artists? Like what when you say R&B, that's so broad.
Yeah, it is really broad. I actually had a big weekend of music, so a couple artists that I saw, they're not necessarily R&B, but I saw Hope Tala on Friday. She's an amazing vocalist from London. She's amazing. And then I had the pleasure of sneaking into into a show. My friend is at business school at Stanford, and he got me tickets to go see. They had an amazing lineup, and it was way smaller than if these people played a public show, but it was a lineup of Zakari, Zach Fox, and Doechii. So I got to see Doechii for the first time,
Wow.
which was
Oh,
super fun. Yeah,
that's
that was on
incredible.
Saturday for me. So that was amazing. Big weekend for music for me.
Ah, wow. That's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I love those artists. Black
Yeah.
Fox. Yeah. Thank you
And
so much for
I might
answering.
never see Doechii again because she's going to the moon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you so much for, answering those questions. That was amazing.
Of
I
course. I
think,
love the questions. Those are great. I never get asked those kind of questions in interviews, and it's a big part of my life as well. So I'm glad I got to talk about music a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
we're always interested in, Chef and I talk about this a lot. We want to talk about the business. We want to talk about and showcase products that our community may know of, love, or may not know of. So we get real hyped when we can bring something that's already doing its thing. And sometimes they're not even off, the table yet, but our community is so invested, and our community is flexitarians, omnivores, staunch vegans, plant-based 9 to 4, Monday through
Nice.
Friday. We hit them all. So I thrive on, and I've been in this long enough picking out products. And when I saw SOBO, I was like, that's a hit. That's a hit because most people have to go to a restaurant and get dumplings. They're not going to make them. And I wouldn't go to the frozen section before
Yep.
eating SOBO for dumplings. I just wouldn't. I don't go to the frozen section for a lot of things unless I know the company and I know the quality, but I have a personal interest. So it's very important for Chef and I'm not speaking for him. I just know we've had these conversations, Chef, that we
Yeah.
bring to life that there are real humans with passion and tenacity and drive and intention behind food products. Because first of all, Chef and I really advocate for whole food
Yes.
eating, right? But
Mhm.
we know not everybody is going to be in the kitchens like we are. I may be up at midnight if I get an idea and I want to just get in the bowl. I'm not even writing. I want to get my hands in it. But that's not reality of people. We need comfort. We need things that are delicious. We need quickness. We need to be able to afford it today. And we need to know that, okay, it's going to be there. So I think the thing that Plantish Live, that Chef Sesabek and I are bringing the entrepreneurs. We do a lot of, due diligence and finding things, and sometimes I don't say things I find, but that's important to us that people know it's not bot, it's not AI. You didn't send an AI
Yeah.
video that,
Not AI error. Nope.
but today, how do we know? So that connection, I think we're driving. And to know that someone can reach out to SOBO, tell us where the best place, well, here on on Club. Get it right, Nina. I've got too many things going on in my head. I was on Clubhouse for years, 2 years and a half, Chef Sosabek and I,
Yeah,
and we had people come in and would sit in hours of us just talking about
that's
this,
fun.
and there was no
Yep.
visual, right? And so
Yeah.
we were like, let's bring it a step in. Let's come over to the IG side. And so we did. But where do you want people to follow you? Give us those
Yeah.
taglines.
Please follow us on Instagram and on TikTok at SOBO Foods, SOBO Foods. And you can also go to our website, sobofoods.com, to find a full list of all the stores that you could find us in.
And do you have a email subscription? Can they drop their email on your website?
Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. If you go to our website, sobofoods.com, scroll to the bottom, you might even get a pop-up. You can sign up for our mailing list, and that's where we announce fun new collaborations, new products, new retailer launches. So if you sign up for a mailing list, that's the best way to figure out when we're coming to a grocery store frozen aisle near you.
Thank you. And when you talk about food service, um, for food service, you have food service
Yep,
packaging, right?
that's right.
I like to clarify that
Hmm.
for the fam because we know a lot of companies that want to do food service may not be ready there yet. And when
Hmm.
we're talking about sustainability and packaging, as a chef in the kitchen, and I've been presented with this, I can't take on all the retail packaging and it's just not cost effective, even if
Totally.
it's at wholesale and all.
Wasteful
So
too.
fam, say
It
that again.
would be wasteful too
Yes,
to send all that retail packaging
exactly.
to a restaurant. Yeah, we have a big case of 120 frozen dumplings in a big box for chefs.
That's great to know. And how do you recommend the best way to prepare it? What has been the successful way? I was in a kitchen, we had no deep fryers.
Yeah.
So that wasn't even an option because of the nature of the kitchen I was running. But what would you recommend for food service?
Hmm.
What's the best, fastest way for them to get it in and out?
Hmm. So for food service specifically, there's a couple different methods. It really depends on your equipment, right? If you want to par steam or parboil them and then flash fry them to order, that's a really quick way to get it out the door if you're doing a lot of covers, you're turning a lot of volume. But a lot of people also just like to pan fry it. That's how we do it for our events and demos and our food festivals. You can use a nonstick pan, or if you're a pro, you can use a stainless steel pan and still get that crispy bottom with that fluffy steamed top. You just put a little water in the pan and it gets steamed all the way through, and it's super delicious. That's how I grew up eating my dumplings, so I'm partial.
Yeah, no, that's cool. They're easy, fam. I've made them. For an event, and then I've made them at home. I've steamed them because I'm going to go through all the ways you tell me on the package to
Yep,
try it out, and then I'm going to mix it up just to see how much I can mix it up. And
totally.
I've steamed them and then pan fried them. And that's straight from frozen. You don't
Hmm.
have to thaw them out. I've put them in the pan, and you put like quarter cup of water. I know Eric is testing me here,
No,
and you
you got
let
it.
them four
Nailed it.
minutes in the pan, and then you put your steam and you get that steam, put that top on,
Hmm.
bam. What's your favorite sauce with your favorite
Yeah,
flavor with the
yeah.
curry?
So
What would you put on top of it?
we have one of my really good friends. Her name is Michelle Tu, and she's from Malaysia, and she creates this chili crisp. She was actually the one who kind of sparked that whole chili crisp debate with Dave Chang. But her company Homaya makes amazing vegan chili crisp. It's sambal style, and it's got a bunch of seaweed in it. It's got a bunch of fried garlic in it. Super, super tasty. So if you can find that, definitely get your hands on some of that. I think it goes wonderfully with all of our dumplings, truthfully.
A lot of umami going on there, fam, and we
Totally.
know how we love the debate with the chili crisp. I have about
Yeah.
3 different jars from different companies because I love to go to my, Asian store here and I just walk the aisles like,
Try them
oh my
all.
gosh, I didn't know there could be so many.
Yep.
People think Americans, oh, we found chili crisp. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
come on.
Every neighborhood has got one.
I
Yeah.
love it. Chef, do you see anything? Have we missed anyone in the chat? We see people coming in and out. We will be, as we always do, fam, reposting or posting the replay. And so watch for that because we know, Eric, we know people are busy, but we do get that replay and a lot of people watch it, share it out.
Amazing.
So don't be surprised if you get some comments in the DM like, I saw this,
Perfect.
where do
No,
I get it?
we'll share it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah. What would
Absolutely.
you like to leave our audience with, Eric? Your 30-second elevator pitch.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, people have already heard plenty about the product, so I won't give them the elevator pitch on the product. What I will say is, I think it's been a theme of our conversation actually, is buy food from people. Buy food from people that you know, that you care about. You care about their stories, you care about uplifting the stories that they have to tell, and care about what you're putting in your body, right? I think that's been a through line for my whole career, is getting people to think, just take a beat before you put something in your mouth. Just take a second to think about what it means to you, why you're eating this, how it's going to nourish your body and your soul.
Thank you. I know I had a question I wanted to ask you, if you can share.
Mhm.
Past dumplings, is there a second product that you can mention? Maybe not. You can just simply say yes, but I can't tell you.
I can't tell you, but I will say I want to do everything with
Okay.
SOBO. There are so many amazing foods. Dumpling is just the tip of the iceberg. I think even just within, like the Chinese American diaspora, the number of really cool foods and food stories and food formats that we can have and share with people is unending, right? This could be anyone's life's work, and I sure hope it's mine.
We definitely appreciate you for being here on Plantish Live, taking the time out of your busy schedule. And we appreciate you for your passion, your creativity, and your tenacity, to go up against some of these big companies to really disrupt things for all of us that want to eat more plant-based foods, no matter what's on your plate right now. We are an inclusive community and we love sharing with all. And that's been our success because we get the comments. Chef Sesabek, how would you like to send us off into all of our brilliance as you do so well?
Oh my goodness. Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. There you have it, fam. Eric Wu, SOBO Foods, Plantish Live. You know where to find us next week. Make sure you take some time out to do some self-care. And yeah, looking forward to our next conversation. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining
Thank you
us.
both. I appreciate you
Yeah.
both immensely. Thank
Thank
you.
Yes.
you, Eric. Thank you, fam. Thank you, Chef Sesabek. Thank you, fam. We know you could be anywhere and you've chosen to be with us. And if you weren't able to be with us live, we know you're going to tap in. We will be sending it out. We show up Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to give all the deliciousness, all the goods. We're going to spill the tea with sometimes. Listen, we learned about Eric. How many people know that Eric has a tattoo of SOBO on his thigh? You only got that here unless you were at the competition where he won. Congratulations, Eric, again, for all the accolades and all that you are going to continue to do. I think Doji is still in your life and she's going to get some of those Sobos because we call people out because manifestation and
There you
belief
go.
is important. Fam, thank you. Walk in all your brilliance. Watch out for our repost of this this session, and we will see you next Tuesday if we don't see you before. Everyone have a great day. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for showing and sharing and sending the hearts for Eric. We love making our guests feel celebrated and seen, and I think we do it pretty well. So we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Take
Thank
care.
you.